Cha-ching, cha-ching. You can see dollar signs appear in my mother's eyes. We were casually walking down the halls in the mall, doing some casual shopping. I was looking for a new skateboard to buy, as well as new clothes, while my mother was doing some other kind of shopping. Well, I suppose you can say she was more like hunting than shopping. You see, my mom was on the hunt for a new victim, a new partner. Hello, my name is Alexander, and I'm the oldest out of all my siblings. And by siblings, I mean my 8 half-siblings. That's right, I have 8 half-siblings. 5 half-sisters and 3 half-brothers. How did I come to have so many half-siblings, you may be wondering? Well, you see, my mom has this special technique she calls babies equal monies. She never has to work or even look for a job. She's a single mother that has somehow managed to raise all 9 of us without ever having to work a day in her life. How does she do it? Baby trapping. I'm ashamed to admit it, but this is how my mother comes up with the funds for the household. She's been doing this for as long as I can remember. As a matter of fact, I have lost count of how many stepfathers she has introduced me to. I think the longest time I had a stepfather was maybe like 6 months. His name was Jacob, I think. But yeah, everyone my mom dates are usually gone after like a month or 2 when they find out that she's having their baby. I don't know why guys keep falling for this trick. My mom lures innocent rich men with her charming looks. She later tells them that she's pregnant and demands thousands and thousands of dollars, or she will call child support. Poor rich guys. They have no other choice but to pay her and move on with their lives. This is how she manages to bring money into the house without actually working. But enough of my mother's evil tricks. Here, let me introduce you to my step-siblings. The second oldest is my sister Joanna. She and I are the ones in charge of taking care of everyone else. Mom's usually either too busy being pregnant or just trying to lose her baby fat so she can find her next victim. Joanna and I are like the parents of the household. We help out with the chores and the cooking. Together, we make a pretty good team. Next up is Matthew. He doesn't really come out of his room much. Matthew's mostly a shut-in, and the only time we ever see him is for dinner. We try to give him some personal space since he's going through that dark, edgy teenage phase. After Matthew, we have the twins, Lily and Layla. They go to middle school and they're stuck to each other like glue. They go everywhere together and do everything together. And I mean everything. That includes going to the bathroom and sharing a bed. But girls will be girls, I suppose. On number 5, we have Danny. He's in the 5th grade and he enjoys reading books. Danny hates wearing his glasses, but he has no other choice if he wants to enjoy his books. I know I already mentioned a set of twins, but that was the first set. The second set of twins are called Emily and Ethan. Now, this set of twins are not like the first one. Unlike Lily and Layla, Emily and Ethan are the complete opposite. They're always fighting and arguing, even for the smallest thing. Ethan ate one of my chicken nuggets. Did not. Did too. Did not. Did too. Oh my god. Just hearing them argue back and forth causes Joanna and I to have major headaches. But that's how all 2nd graders are, I suppose. Last but not least, we have Angel, the newest member of the family. She just turned 1 the other day. Angel just sleeps most of the time, so she is by far my favorite step-sibling to look after. But yeah, this is all 9 of us. We may not have an ideal parent, but at least we have each other. So, back to the present. While I'm trying to buy some actual things for my siblings, Mom is already searching for another man to scam. And what do you know? She's already found one. I know that look on her face when I see it. She licks the bottom of her lips and carefully approaches her prey. This fine gentleman was wearing a nice suit and tie. I could see my mom eyeing his Rolex watch, as well as sniffing his expensive cologne. Oh, hey cutie. My name's Stacy. What's your name? My mother did her best to deceive her prey from her real intentions. She worked hard to keep her good looks and charms. She would wear only the best outfits and makeup. It was almost impossible to reject her. I felt bad for the poor gentleman. He did not know what he was getting himself into. Before I knew it, my mom and her new victim were now talking over a cup of coffee. Wow, she works fast, I said as I left the mall and headed home. Alex! Everyone yelled as I entered the house. Joanna helped me bring the groceries into the house. Where is she? Joanna asked. You know, doing her usual thing, I replied. We both gave a deep sigh before preparing dinner. Tonight's menu was going to be some good old-fashioned spaghetti with meatballs. We threw the dry pasta into the boiling water and got the tomato sauce ready. Ever since we were little, Joanna and I were always in charge of making the food. At first, we were lucky to even make the food edible. But now, we're pros at cooking. We've even talked about starting a cooking show. It was going to be known as Family of Chefs, or something like that. We laughed as we served the food. Everyone sat down and started to dig in. Somehow, we always managed to cook just enough to feed all 9 of us. After dinner came bedtime. And after bedtime came the time to wait for Mom to arrive from her quote-unquote work. Oh, you're still awake? Mom said as she came through the front door. It's almost midnight. I swear, every night you arrive later and later. What took you so long this time? Mom just ignored my question and headed to the kitchen. She took off her coat and opened the fridge. Oh, spaghetti and meatballs, she said as she served herself. There was no point in talking to her, even less arguing. I've tried for years to convince her that what she's doing is wrong and needs to stop. But she always just hits me with the same old excuse. Alexander, I am your mother. You should have more respect for me. I wasn't the only one that felt like this. All my other half-siblings knew that this had to stop. This was not living. We needed a parent. A mother, not just someone that can provide money, but also love and care. Mom, however, did not understand this. I was very young when it happened, but I can still remember the events that led my mother on this path of darkness. It happened sometime after I was born. My father cheated on my mother with one of his co-workers. Mom did not know how to continue with her life. How is a single mother with no job supposed to survive in today's society? That's when she had this great idea of baby trapping. She went on date after date after date. Sure, she was making the money, but in return, she was losing her self-value. The years passed, and my small family grew and grew to what we have today. Siblings, all from different fathers. What a mess indeed. I just wish for her to realize that what she's doing is wrong and should stop. Bang! My mom slammed the door behind her. She was sweating and panting hard. What was going on? Did something bad happen on her date? Alexander, if anyone comes looking for me, tell them you do not know me and I don't live here, she said as she went to hide in her room. Soon after, there was someone at the door. Ding dong! I opened the door. And guess who it was? The same guy I saw at the mall the other day. What did he want? I'm sorry, young man, but does Stacy live here? The gentleman asked. Is this why my mom came home in a rush? Because of this guy? Should I let him in or should I lie as my mom asked me to do? Just as I was panicking to decide, Joanna stepped up and answered for me. No, sorry, there's no Stacy at this house. The gentleman tipped his hat and took his leave. Just then, my mom came out of the room to thank us for saving her. We demanded to know what this was all about. Mom explained that she did her usual routine. She would go on a couple of dates with the guy and hook up with them. She would then tell them that she is pregnant with their child and demand they pay her. This always worked for her. That was until now. This gentleman was a different case. Instead of paying Mom and running away, he dropped to one knee and asked her to marry him. This had never happened to her before. How was she supposed to react? Mom politely tried to turn down the marriage proposal, but the fine gentleman just pressed further. She could see the determination in his eyes. He was not going to stop until she said yes. She tried moving on and dating other guys, but the gentleman was still there. Oh, Stacy, would you marry me and make me the happiest man alive? No, please, stay away from me. Mom's business was being crashed by this psycho. Everywhere she went, he was there. Joanna and I warned her that something like this would happen, and now she had to pay the price. She would either marry the psycho or have to live in constant fear. All of this made her dizzy. She needed some fresh air. That's when she stepped outside of the house, and there he was, waiting for her. "Oh, Stacy! I knew I was going to find you! Destiny has brought us together once more!"
"Please, stay away! I don't want anything to do with you!"
It didn't matter how much my mom pleaded or cried. The gentleman was determined to marry her, no matter what. She cried to Joanna and me to somehow help her get out of this mess, but we just shook our heads. This was her problem, so she had to solve it herself. Eventually, she dropped to her knees and begged us for her help. She even promised that she would stop this whole baby trapping business. She was done and didn't want to deal with anything like this ever again. We smiled and helped her up. This was it. We finally opened her eyes. We wiped away her tears and explained that all of this was part of our plan. Joanna and I were tired of this lifestyle, so we hired a professional actor to play the role of the desperate gentleman. All of this was done so she could fulfill her role as a mother, and not a baby factory. Mom dropped the whole baby trapping thing as promised, and she finally became the mother we needed. Now that there was someone to look after our half-siblings, Joanna and I were finally able to start our own cooking show.